Ladies and gentlemen, EC3. Trouble. GFW Impact this week. This was a huge week for GFW. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I didn't even really see this coming. I mean, we knew that this was Destination X week, and we knew that they planned to do one of their, quote unquote live shows. And I say just quote unquote because it's live to tape. I think they actually taped the show from about 7 p.m. to about 9 p.m. East Coast time. And it actually airs on TV from about 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. East Coast time. So in the TV business, that's technically called live to tape. But you still get the feel of a live show. And because it's happening so close to the actual time that it airs, it's, you got to really be searching for spoilers in order to find them. And there's a lot of trolls out there who are searching for spoilers. I actually saw some posted like right before the show came on. And I was just like, really? You haters just gotta, try to spoil the show for people to actually want to watch it. But I digress. This was a really big week for GFW. This show was very noteworthy. It was a good show, easy to watch. The show floated by, and that's saying something considering the fact that they actually removed a match, right? We were supposed to get Alberto El Patron taking on Low Key in the main event of Impact, but as we all know, with El Patron being suspended, and the announcement came down at the top of the week that he had actually been stripped of the GFW Global Championship. And so, part of me was, very curious as to how they were going to play that out. He put out a statement saying that it was his idea to have them strip him of the title and blah, 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 blah. But they definitely went out of their way to not paint him in a bad light. But this was, make no mistake, this was 100% the right move. This is exactly what they should have done with him. He was playing the superhero babyface on TV, and week after week I was watching this, and I honestly just could not separate the person I was seeing on TV from the person that I was seeing in those videos that were popping up online and in the different headlines that were popping up. Him just, rambling off like a drunk madman, and it just really was not a good look. This company is in a space where they need all the positive PR they can get, and like it or not, he was just creating a lot of negative headlines for this company, and they really don't need that. He's a really good wrestler in the ring. He's great on the mic, but it's at this stage of the game, it's more trouble than it's worth because they're just trying to, create some goodwill towards their brand. And like I said, having El Patron as the face of your company was counterproductive to that. So stripping him of the title was the right move. Whether you did it in this fashion or whether you had him actually drop the title to Low Key. Actually, when I first heard about Patron being stripped of the title, my thought was that he was supposed to drop the title to Low Key, and he refused to do it, and then they decided to strip him of the title. But as we saw the show play out, they obviously had a plan in place, and I gotta tell you, I like the plan. I really like the plan. If you're listening to this, you're probably a fan of wrestling on the internet. And if you're listening to this, you might also be an Impact Wrestling fan. And so you've probably seen the major spoiler that they released on their own social media. And I'm actually going to talk about that. So if you haven't seen it yet and you don't like spoilers, go ahead and skip ahead about a minute or two. I'll give you a second. All right. So Impact Wrestling released on their own social media that coming out of the 20-man gauntlet for the gold match, the new champion is going to be none other than Eli Drake. I did the hand. You can anyway. So I love this move. I absolutely love this move. And contrary to a lot of people's belief, I'm more likely to tune in next week than I would have been otherwise. Now, let's be honest, that may not be true because I watch the show every week for the purpose of doing this podcast, if nothing else. But hearing that Eli Drake is going to be winning the championship, I absolutely 100% want to see that. I want to see how it plays out. And then the way they set it up throughout this show, I thought that was great. I mean, so I definitely want to see how this actually plays out and how he comes out with the title. So congrats to my man, Eli Drake. I'm saying my man, I don't really know the homie, but if you follow his Instagram, he looks like he has a lot of fun. So he could be my friend. Eli, call me up, man. Let's party. All right. So that's obviously the one of the biggest headlines coming out. There were some other headlines coming out of the week. Tyrus put out an Instagram video saying that he was unhappy with how he's being used and he's worked so hard to become a crossover star and him and his fans aren't happy with the way he's being used. And so he said he was, going to be sitting out these tapings. And I was like, so? Come on, man. Who is going to miss Tyrus from the tapings? And that's no disrespect to him as a performer or what he can do, but what has he been doing, right? He's right in his gripe that he hasn't been being used. You're right, you haven't been being used. So guess what? Nobody's going to miss you. You're not really in a position to be holding out when you're not getting playing time anyway, right? That doesn't make any sense. So you got your release. I saw that on Twitter earlier tonight, and good for you. Best of luck in your future endeavors. Go back to WWE. Hopefully they want to bring back the Funkasaurus, and I'm sure you'll make a lot of money. So, all's well that ends well, I guess. Other noteworthy things from GFW/Impact this week. Oh my God. So, okay. Heel authority figures are so played out. I get it. Austin versus McMahon, like 20 years ago, was a huge hit. They sold out arenas everywhere. Austin was the highest grossing merchandise and ticket sales wrestler in the history of the business. But since then, every damn wrestling show has tried to duplicate the heel authority figure model. And it's just not necessary. Like, you can do something else. And so the latest version of this that we've seen on Impact was Bruce Prichard with his heel goatee, doing all the repeated stupid stuff that he had been doing. And we saw that come to a head tonight. Apparently he's being replaced by Jim Cornette as the new authority figure. And I just hope Jim Cornette is not a quote unquote heel authority figure. He has a great ability to, deliver on the mic, right? He can really rile people up. He can, he's got sharp cutting words and he's very clever when he talks. So he doesn't need to be a heel. Just let him be a nice, entertaining, use him sparingly style general manager type of guy. And I think that'll add to the program. But let's just get away from the heel authority figure, man. You can do a wrestling show without it. Believe it or not, you can do a wrestling show without a heel authority figure. It's possible. Trust me. I've seen it done. All right. But Bruce Prichard getting replaced by Jim Cornette, I was a big fan of that. Jim Cornette is way better than Bruce Prichard on the microphone. He's funny. He has a lot of name value. Obviously, I would say he has more name value than Bruce Prichard, and it's an upgrade in every possible way. Let's be honest. But on Bruce Prichard's way out the door, he got into a screaming match with Karen Jarrett, and her screaming voice. Oh my God. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Like, it's awful. It's hideous. It's horrible. And it was funny, as he was getting into the shouting match with Karen Jarrett, and she's, screaming at the top of her lungs in her shrill, shrieking voice. all I could picture was her doing that to Braun Strowman in the bar and him down on his knees begging her not to tell Kurt Angle that he said F your son. So that's actually a funny contribution that Karen Jarrett made to my life. So thanks, Care. What else notable happened on this show? There's a lot that returns were huge on the show. That we saw the return of Taryn Terrell looking like a snack. And we also got the return of Petey Williams, the Canadian Destroyer. And we got a heel turn for Caleb Conley, who's just kind of been like a nondescript X Division guy. And what else did we get? Oh, towards the end of the show, actually at the exact end of the show, we got a promo for Johnny Impact. Okay, Johnny Impact, that's Johnny Mundo / John Morrison, the Friday Night Delight, as he used to be called on whatever show he was on. And I think this is a big deal. I definitely think this is a big deal because he's been away from WWE long enough that he has kind of... I mean, he's still doing pretty much the same thing he was doing in WWE as John Morrison, but I think he's been out of WWE long enough to where people aren't going to necessarily automatically recall back to him being in WWE. It's not about forgetting that he was in WWE, but he's been doing AAA, which a lot of the American audience hasn't seen. He's been doing Lucha Underground, which a lot of the American audience has seen. And he didn't have any really major, success in WWE where it's like, okay, this guy's an ex-WWE champion. He also didn't have any major washouts or failures in WWE. So, I think this is a guy that you can come in, and you can use in all the right ways. But I would just caution you, Jeff, Dutch, Bruce, whoever else, Jim, anybody else that is in charge over there, do not take Johnny Impact and push him straight to the main event. Do not have him come in there and start beating all your top guys, okay? Because you have to stop making the fans think that anybody who comes over from WWE is better than anybody who has been in GFW. You have to erase that out of fans' minds. As a matter of fact, you have to show them the opposite. You have to. It's important. So I'm very interested to see where all those new returns, like how they fit in. These are all good additions to the show, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where they go with that. What else newsworthy came out of GFW this week? Let's see. I think that might be it. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into my favorite game, your favorite game, the GFW version of Yes Please, No Please, Please Please. All right, here we go. So my Yes Please this week is for the online digital content. GFW has done such a tremendous job with focusing on putting major parts of major angles online. That means you can consume these things via Twitter, via Facebook, via YouTube. These are all different ways you can see this stuff. Now, the two major things that fall into this category right now are, one, obviously the spoiler of Eli Drake winning the world title on next week's show, which, by the way, was just them getting out in front of the news cycles. You knew the dirt sheets were going to spoil that no matter what. And so it's very smart of them to be the ones to go ahead and put that news out, because you want your fans to look to you first for the news. So the fact that they got out in front of the news cycle in that way, I think that's just very smart on their part. So, kudos to you guys for that. The other thing is, after Slammiversary, they started this angle where the people from American Top Team, where Lashley trains, were pressuring him to focus solely on MMA and step away from wrestling. And at that point, I had a feeling automatically that this was going to be exactly what it is, which was, Lashley starting to lose matches so that the MMA guys could put more pressure on him to leave. But they took this to a whole nother level with the online content. So if you guys haven't seen on the YouTube channel or maybe on Facebook, there's a video of what transpires after they go off camera, and the MMA guys get into a scuffle backstage with Jeff Jarrett. James Storm ends up running out, and it's just this whole kind of pushing match that looked like it was, getting pretty heated. And so it looks like where this is going to go is there's going to be like an MMA crew versus wrestlers type crew. And I love the idea. I think it's a really great, fun idea. Somebody's going to have to train up all these MMA guys on how to do wrestling moves. So that's going to be interesting. But I love the concept, man. I love the concept. And again, I love using your digital platform to further advance the storyline in a significant way. So GFW's digital content, you get my yes, please. All right. There was not a whole lot to not like on this week's episode of Impact. I already touched on the Tyrus situation, and that could have been my no please, but it really wasn't that significant to even get my no please. My no please this week is going to the debut of OVE. Now, there's so much I can pick apart here, and I will. So let's start with the constant regurgitation of the Ohio versus everything. Okay, here's the problem with that. There's no problem with the name itself, but the fact that you keep saying Ohio versus everything takes away from it. If you just say OVE, that leaves people to wonder, what does OVE stand for? I need to find out more about OVE. It's like CM Punk, right? Like, you just leave the mystery of what does CM stand for. And they might say 20 different things, but you still want to know. We want to know more. What does CM Punk stand for? So you guys keep saying Ohio over everything. Nobody really cares about Ohio over everything. Like, it's not like offensive. It's not like we're in Michigan where, how dare you say Ohio over everything? Like, it's not like, really, who cares? And then the match itself was kind of sloppy. They presented these guys like they're supposed to be like some big deal, and the match itself definitely was sloppy. There was one part where they took on two jobbers whose names I can't remember. There was one part where one of the guys goes behind a member of OVE and he cradles him up into a schoolboy, and I think he tries to pull him out into a German suplex, and you can audibly hear the guy from OVE saying, "What the fuck are you doing?" That's correct. He said that. Those words in that order. And it was audible, by the way. Somebody should have edited that out. I guess that's the problem with going live, air quotes. And, their finishing move didn't look too impressive. The guys themselves, nothing about them is like feature attraction. Now, I remember when the Wolves debuted and they felt like a big deal as a tag team. They felt like, a tag team that's doing something new that you really need to see. And I didn't get this feeling from OVE at all. So hopefully they'll do better in their future segments. But, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't really, I wasn't really feeling the love, man. The OVE, yeah, right now I'm just not here for it. So hopefully that gets better. All right. Now, I told you guys what I liked. That was my yes, please. I told you guys what I didn't like. That was my no, please. But like all people that love a TV show, you watch this TV show and you're trying to figure out what the end game is, and you have your own ideas for how you think it should turn out. And the whole time you're watching the show, you're saying, please do it my way. And so what has me saying please this week is please continue to give me good matches from the X Division. Okay? Please give me good matches from the X Division. They had the final of the Super X Cup match, and they really slowed it down. I appreciate the big moves that X Division guys do so much more when they're actually in what looks like a real match, a real struggle, a real fight. Guys, trying to work a hold, get a submission, and then you do the crazy flippy thing, and it looks really cool, right? But if it's just like flip after no sell after no sell, and that really just takes me out of it. But it looks like they took special care to not be that way in this match. And so Desmond Xavier got the win. He looks like somebody that they're going to try to push. I'm a little confused, though, how this is going to balance out with Matt Seidel's automatic title shot that he has coming up. So maybe that'll be something they'll get into on a future episode. If I have a backup, please, my second please is going to be please make next week's episode a good one. There's a lot of positive buzz coming off of this, and I can guarantee you that they will do a higher viewership number next week than they did on this week. So please deliver on next week's show. Make sure that Gauntlet for Gold match is great. Make sure everything before and after that is noteworthy, newsworthy, pick up your phone and call a friend worthy. That's what we need to see, because that's how you're going to grow this audience. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how they do that. And please give us a good show to talk about next week. So all my GFW Impact fans, thank you guys so much for taking the time out to listen to this. Make sure you're liking the YouTube page. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe. Same thing with iTunes. I definitely could use all the love on that. So thanks.